everyone, Tutu Mora here with the Y, bringing you tools to feel well in your body, mind, and spirit. Today we're going to be focusing on the glute muscles so that when you go on your walk or your run, you'll be able to feel them awake, active, and supporting you as you move. So what you'll need is, if you have it, a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, that's okay. You just need a pillow or something that can keep your head in line with your spine. So I'm going to be laying down. My head is going to be out of view, but you'll be able to see the lower half of my body, which is all you really need to see. So I'd invite you to lay down on your yoga mat. You can pick a side. We'll be doing both sides, and I'll join you down there. So I'm just going to adjust my screen a little bit. Okay. So you'll find yourself here on your side, and let's take a second and just tune into the torso here. So really important to keep your pelvis stable through these movements. So what does that mean? That means that your hip bones are stacked one on top of the other here, and your shoulders are stacked one on top of the other as well. So it's helpful if you want to feel behind you. The edge of your yoga mat is a good indication of how straight your spine is. So you can line yourself up with your yoga mat, and then from there you can make sure that your shoulders are stacked one on top of the other and your hips are stacked one on top of the other. And so as we move, really important to keep that stacked position here. So, you know, one of the telltale signs of having a pelvis or a core that needs a little bit of work strengthening is that as you're moving, if you feel yourself rocking around, that means that there's still some work to do to create that stability at your center. So the first movement we're going to start with, I'm going to shuffle up just a little bit here. We're going to start with a basic straight leg. So you can either have your bottom leg straight or you can bend it here. I'm going to have my leg bent, shuffle up just a little bit more so you can see me. And what we're going to do is reaching through your heel, as if your heel, we're going to reach through to the wall that's directly below you. We're just going to move that foot forward and back. So just like you were walking, but paying careful attention to keep that pelvis stable. So you don't want to have it rocking as you bring your leg forward and back. You want to keep this area really stable. So just letting that leg move in the hip socket. So let's take 5 more, or whatever feels good for you in your body. As always, this is an invitation for you to start a dialogue with yourself, paying attention to what feels good for your body today in this moment. And so now we're just going to lower and lift. So bringing that leg at the height of your hip, you're going to lift up, bring it back down. And again, you can put your hand on your hip just for a little extra accountability, making sure that pelvis stays stable. You don't want it to be moving around as you move your leg. You want to keep this leg as an isolated movement here. Let's do 5 more, or whatever feels good for your body. Making sure to reach through that heel down to what would be the wall or the direction below your foot here. So we'll rest that leg down for just a moment. We're going to bring it back into play. So let's take this into a clamshell here. So really suctioning that leg bone into the back of the hip socket. Keeping that connection, almost like there was a little, you were trying to push your fingers away right there at the back pants pockets. So this was 5. We're going to take 5 more nice and slow, keeping that pelvis stable. So what I don't want to see is this, moving that pelvis and torso with your leg. We want to keep that as an isolated movement. So now, keeping those knees together, we're going to lift the heels and the shins up, and we're going to take that clamshell again. Just 5 here. Keeping that core nice and stable, that pelvis nice and stable. Last one. And resting back down. So by now you probably can feel those glutes alert and active. We're going to do just a couple more things and then we'll switch sides. So bringing that leg all the way out. I'll shuffle up even more here so you can see. Okay, so leg straight out. We're going to take this into a little bit of an arc. So with your legs straight, we're going to bring those toes forward and back, but keeping that pelvis stable, only bringing that arc around as far as you can keep that pelvis stable. So we don't want to see this, we want to see that. So let's take a few more here, just going at your own pace. If you need to pause the video in order to take your repetitions, please feel free to do so. So let's meet with that leg straight out here. We're going to bring that knee in towards your body and then we're going to kick straight out. 3 more. Last one. This one will really let you feel those glutes come alive. Okay, so now we're going to take that to the other side. Okay, so we're going to start just the way we started before. I want you to find that line of the mat behind you and just line yourself up. Line that spine up so you're not curled up as if you're going to sleep. We're in line with a straight spine. Find that space where your hips are stacked one on top of the other, shoulders stacked one on top of the other. We'll straighten that leg out. We're going to walk it forward and taking it back. So you may notice that you have a different degree of ability from side to side, and that's totally normal. So letting each side be its own experience. Well, let's take 5 more here. Or whatever feels good for you. And again, feel free to pause this if you want to slow this down, which is always a good idea. And then bringing that leg to your hip height, we're going to lower and lift. You can rest that leg bent to meet the other one here. And we'll take this into a clamshell. So sectioning that leg bone back into the back of the hip socket where your back pants pockets are. And then keeping that connection as you bring the leg up into your clamshell. Let's take 1 more here. And then we'll lift the heels and the shins and we'll take 5 elevated here. Really important to keep that pelvis stable. Resting back down. we'll straighten that leg again out. So here, let me scoot up a little bit more here. So that heel is really reaching down below you. And then we're gonna take it into that arc. So again, only bringing that arc around as far as you can keep that stability in your center, in your pelvis. You can take a little break again here, and then we're gonna go into our last movement. So straightening that leg out, we're gonna bring the knee in towards your upper body and then kick straight out, keeping that leg at the height of your hip. We'll take 3 more here. Last one. And you can rest back down. So after you've done these, sometimes it feels good to take a little figure 4 stretch. What that looks like is just crossing one leg over, reaching through, and stretching that glute out. Holding for a couple breaths, and then you can switch sides. So you can hang out in this stretch as long as feels good for you. But for the sake of time, we're just gonna do it for a couple breaths, one time on each side. And then you can go ahead and release those legs. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you back here next time on the Wise YouTube channel with more tips and tools to feel well in your body, mind, and spirits.